Zelda has gone full-on Minion Master, meets Mystical Engineer, meets Deadly Level Editor. If you're just starting or already deeply into Echoes of Wisdom, I have some tips that everyone should benefit from, because they're odd. Not entirely, though. Some will just make you better at the game's combat, expand how you explore, or add quality of life features that will help for your entire playthrough. I'm Alex, this is Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and the link-saving shenanigans begins. First, a simple building trick that uses less magic power. Place something like a table, push it to move it off the game's preset grid, and then put another table right on top of that. There you go, you just made ascending stairs with just 2 tables. There's many ways you can use this in-between the grid mechanic to make different variations of stack structures. If you figure out any other useful combos, let me know. Zelda is far more kind to pottery than that Link dude, and she can actually jump on and enter these pots. You can then plunk around and use this as a stealth mechanic, far superior to any cardboard box. Proof? Well, for one, re-deads can annoyingly stun you with their shriek, but if you summon a pot and then jump in, you can pass by re-deads completely unfazed. The implications of how this works? Maybe you're using the jar as earmuffs? I don't know, I'm not a lore guy. At the southern beach at the very start, don't skip by these sea urchins. Throw a rock to destroy one so you can summon your own on command. I like these things because you can place them right on enemies, giving you something similar to a traditional melee attack. Sea urchins don't move on their own, but there are ways to encourage them into battle. Place a wind cannon, jump on top of it, and spawn them right at the end of it. This tactic is kinda useful for hanging back and letting enemies pretty much dispatch themselves. Easy build for a sea urchin turret system, but that's a sentence. Another way to make these mobily lethal are by using the bind ability to turn yourself into the spiky damage. The bind can also be used to move enemies around, and this is where you can get really creatively cruel. Create a trap, like a pile of sea urchins. Go find someone that looks willing to give them an honest critique, but don't wait around for any feedback. Something a little stronger you didn't ask? Well, put down a Deku Baba, go find it some lunch, drag them back to your favorite flora, and try your best not to audibly cackle at your diabolical joy. Another option, once you have the water block, you can pull someone into it to drown them in an ironically tiny amount of liquid. Zelda's not messing around in this game. Her bind ability can also rip shields right off of enemies. Just bind to them, Luigi's Mansion in the opposite direction of the beam, and pop their grip. When the game presents you with combat options ranging from A to Z, option A.5 is sometimes the best way to go. If there's water or a pit nearby, just use the bind and simply delete the enemy from the game by plopping them right in it. And you thought this was an adorable passive puzzle game. Now, beds. These make great bridges, of course, but beds come in different tiers with improved effects. You can actually rest in your own summoned beds, and this is an easy way to heal yourself completely for free. However, the better the bed, the faster it'll heal you. If you're running around without your health topped off, just whip out a bed, take a quick nap. If you summon a creature that has wings and then grab it before it starts flying off, this can actually be used to glide off of a ledge. We used to have to rely on random cuckoos to gain this ability, but not anymore. Floating through the air like this can, you guessed it, shortcut to a lot of things. Okay, simple combat tip. Spawn your most powerful creature, then bind yourself to it. Your ability to directly influence its movement can be used to move them in and out of attack range and actually even dodge incoming attacks. Just think of that echoed enemy as a weapon you wield in your hand. This is an easy way to have a bit more direct control over a fight. Some creatures are just kind of slow too, but manually controlling them can increase their potency and speed. Menus. You're going to spend a decent amount of time scrolling through this list, which does have some useful sorting options, but there's another method you might prefer. If you leave the main menu on the Notebook tab, pressing the plus button will always instantly bring up this larger screen of things you can summon. Furniture towards the top, devices and stuff in the middle, and creatures towards the bottom. Once you get used to that screen, it can be a bit faster sometimes to use that instead. Another option, stick with me on this one, is to spam your favorite summons over and over for like a solid minute or two. Why? Well, in the scroll menu, if you set it to the most used, you can essentially curate your favorites right here. Because you spent the time to spawn those things an awkward amount of times, you've ensured that they won't get replaced on the top of that list. In the Southern Prairie, you can find one of my personal favorite creatures in the entire game, a Crawltula. If you spawn one of these, bind to it, and use the unlocked follow command, you can move right along with it. This spider can scale almost any vertical surface, which makes for one of the easiest ways to get up and around the entire map. Like, why would you treacherously journey up the path of Elden Volcano when you can just spider crawl up from the base of it? These things are pretty useful in combat too, since they can climb up and over things to get right to the target. Getting into Big Smoothie is a great way to make rupees, since you can sell each one for a profit. Cue the smoothie manufacturing montage.
Wop boop bop, bada boop bop, wop boop bop, making smoothies now. Wop boop bop, bop boop bop, bop boop bop, bop bada boop bop.
Alright, once you get all that smoothie money, you'll be able to afford whatever you can pretty much dream of. It could even be a contained fluid that heals back hearts. Wait a second. This next one is simple, but it could go missed. You can click in the right analog stick to see the view from an entirely different perspective. Kinda nice to check things out from time to time in this view because it feels to me more like classic Zelda. You might also find it useful for building and, kinda lining stuff up. You know those annoying flying creatures that you can't hit? Well, just use your bind to lock them in place. You can even summon echoes while tethered, letting you easily pick off those flying enemies while they're kinda just frozen in place. Using the bind and follow command on an enemy can make it nearly impossible for some enemies to hit you. As long as they don't have a ranged attack, you'll automatically move away from all their lunges. Using this on a fast-moving object is another way to quickly traverse the map as you tag along with it. I don't need a horse, I got spin-a-majig. Later in the game, you'll likely find the Frog Ring, which increases your jump height. However, if you combine that with your sword fighter form, Linkle mode, its jump will also get even better. You can jump so high you can go from the ground up onto trees, and shenanigans will ensue. And last up, some creatures can be stacked on top of each other, like these Octoroks. These can make for some weird steps, or better, make a stacked sentry turret. The things you can do in this game, and that's just scratching the surface. Alright, that's Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and a few things I recommend you at least mess around with. Or just do your own thing, it's all good. I'm curious though what you guys think of this departure away from Link, and let me know your thoughts on the game after you've put in a few hours. It has a little bit of a learning curve. Okay, thanks for checking this out today. I'm Alex, and I'll see you in the next one.